so tough. You're so tough for yourself. You're so, you like it so.
Hello, welcome to Average Takes, where I get an average take about a specific topic from my friend. And my friend today is the wife, mom, financial, professional, and just pretty awesome person, SeaAprodite. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank
And
you.
the topic we're going to talk about today is oral worship. And I'm just, looking from your profile, from your images and videos and photos, that oral worship is something you like. So, do you want to give me a little bit of insight? What is oral worship and what you love about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the kind of top femdom kink for me, and I think for many people. And it's also the gateway sort of kink, right? Into femdom, where going down on a woman or kind of face sitting, those are sometimes the first ways that a woman feels empowered and that a man feels kind of more submissive to serve. It's not surprising. I mean, most women, I think, love oral. I mean, certainly some more than others. I think most women need some level of clit stimulation to orgasm. In fact, I think something along the lines of 70% of women can't actually orgasm entirely from penetrative sex. They need some level of clit stimulation. I happen to be on the extreme end of that, where it's the only way that I can orgasm, which is probably what led, early on in my sort of sexual development for me to be a kind of more of a dominant, because being penetrated doesn't do anything for me at all. So there was just like no interest in bottoming as a result, except if I just wanted to make my partner happy, like my spouse, right?
Mm.
Um, but I think oral worship is a way for men to show off a different kind of skill than just using their penis. I think that there are many men, especially in our society, is so phallically oriented. Everybody's focused on large penises, and there's a lot of men who are insecure about the size of their
I'm
cock,
sorry, I can't
right?
stop laughing.
You're laughing.
Yeah.
Some of this has racial implications, right? We talk about kind of white males versus sort of men of color, right? Like different sizes. Some of it's cultural, like different like races, and so there's all these like layers, right? And by the way, the average male penis is like 5 or 6 inches, but a lot of times people who are even 7 inches long have a lot of sort of like problems with it, because like society tells them it should be 9 inches long,
God
right?
damn
And
it.
so people feel, I know people feel this kind of weight.
Mm.
And so this is a way to please a woman without having to. By the way, it's not just the size. There's people who don't last very long, for example. They can't last very long.
Mm.
And that obviously weighs on them as well. It makes them feel inferior. And so this is a way to please a woman without having to be the biggest cock in the room, without having to be able to pound away for an hour. Although again, like not every woman wants to be pounded away at for an hour. So it really again ranges. But I think especially for younger men, all of these things weigh really heavy until they have more experience. And so the ability to please a partner orally takes some of that pressure
Mm.
off, right? Just the kind of the cock. I think the men who legitimately are working through some of these insecurities, maybe they really are small. Maybe they really do have, kind of like an early, right, like release problem, and can't, kind of last very long. It's a way of sort of paying penance for that. I don't have this. I can't do this. I'm not going to be bigger than I am. I'm not going to be able to last longer than I do, but I can give you this instead, right?
Mm.
And so that kind of service is obviously a big thing. And again, it sort of connects really naturally with the fact that most women really enjoy it. I also think that a lot of women, especially again younger women, but women of all ages, I think are insecure about their vagina, about the look of it, the smell of it, the taste of it, right? And so, being worshiped that way, being appreciated that way gives you a lot more confidence. And a lot of women, just the act of letting someone go down on them, or the act of certainly sitting on someone's face, from above, is very scary. They don't necessarily want to be seen from that angle. And so that working through that kind of having the courage to do that, and the kind of comfort to do that, is part of that owning dominance. Um, so I quite love this one. I think it's just a really great kind of gateway kink into femdom. I also think that it's like I said, it's basically a way of sort of showing a lot of acceptance and love to someone. I think about this for giving a blowjob too. You know, you can really like love up a penis, right? You can sort of, cock worship versus just giving a blowjob. There's a big difference between just kind of going down on a woman, right, eating pussy, versus sort of worshiping her, whether it's her pussy or actually worshiping her breast, her body. The act of worship is bigger than just the physical act. It's the appreciation that you're showing. It's kind of, you can say certain things. It's the way you kind of move your body, the way you show enjoyment and appreciation. And I think the people that I have enjoyed as partners the most, who have been really great submissives, and I'm very blessed to have them in my life now too, is people who really, really enjoy kind of giving and then seeing the woman orgasm, right? Like that they really, for them, there's a huge joy and like an achievement, but also just a joy in seeing her come, almost like more important than their own orgasm,
Mm,
right? So it's a way of being really selfless and not selfish, because obviously if you're, performing oral, you're not necessarily feeling anything yourself. So it's a very selfless act. There's definitely, I think, some pride, right? And again, I talk about this in terms of giving blowjobs too. Like there's a pride when you make the partner come, you feel like it's an achievement for you. So
mhm,
there's an ego boost. But also, there's a different element to it. As I said, this kind of selflessness where you really want to please the person, you really want to serve the person so much that their orgasm is more important than your orgasm. And that's how I can tell, I think, a real submissive from someone who's sort of just going through the motions, or really kind of in it for their own fantasy, just kind of looking for some kink dispensing, um, is someone who just gets so into it, that it's clear that ultimately me being happy and pleased is more important to them than them being happy and pleased. And that's beautiful,
mhm.
and I think that there's many women who would really enjoy that. And again, for a variety of reasons, there's many men who enjoy giving that. So it's a really good one. There's a reason I put it at the top of my list.
Wow. So worship, has like a religious connotation also.
Yeah.
Is there any of that when it comes to oral worship play with you, or
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I did study some Eastern cultures and like the worship of the, the kind of the female, genitals, right, as well as the male. Um, so there is definitely some element, I think. I mean, people will sort of say goddess to me, or they'll use the word goddess for a lot of femdoms. I'm personally not a huge fan of that word. It's it just seems like, I don't know, too much. It's overused, I guess.
okay?
But yeah, I do think that worship has, like I said, more to do than just the physical act of sort of licking.
Mm,
That there's the way that you come to it as a worshiper, or you come to it as someone who's, like I said, your purpose there is service. Your purpose is seeing the other person have joy, right, and to feel good, and you almost subsume your own selfishness, your own desires, your own physical pleasure to that, to them, right? You put yourself second, which is, I guess, from a religious standpoint, right, is you put yourself second to your deity, right? You're just the worshiper of the deity, you're the servant of the deity. The deity is more important.
hmm
So I can definitely see that as part of it.
mm. Okay. I thought I could end it with saying, when it comes to you with oral worship, what are a few things that are yay and a few things that are nay?
Oh, okay. I mean, look, I mean, everybody's really different in terms of what they enjoy.
Right.
I think for me, yay is like listening to instruction, because I definitely will explain to somebody, especially the first couple of times they're with me, kind of how I like it. And obviously, the pussy is complex. And so for me, the clit is really important. For other women, it may be the lips, right? I mean, some women may enjoy like a finger or two inserted. I don't like any kind of penetration, so I don't like anything
Mm,
inside. So I think part of it is not coming, like, let's say that you're really good at it. Like a lot of men say, I'm really good at eating pussy. And I know exactly what to do. And they're very proud of it. But the reality is that maybe they've been really good for one particular woman or a couple of
right.
particular women, but not every woman is the same. So
Right.
it's important to show up and listen,
Mm,
and learn how this particular person wants it done, and not necessarily, and just assume she knows her body better than you do,
yeah.
probably. And that, like I said, you got these folks who are like, I can make any woman come, and they say that like for their mouth or their cock, like, I make everybody squirt. I like this pride that they show up with a lot of times, the more dominant
Yeah.
folks. And I think show up with humility is better. Show up with humility rather than pride, and sort of listen to how somebody wants it done
Mhm.
and serve them the way they're asking for. And you can still kind of experiment or try a couple different things to see if that works for her. But rather than just sort of shoehorning her into whatever technique you think you're good at, is I think being open to being of service to her in the way that she directs you.
Right. Always awesome talking to you, and I get to learn something every time we talk. I want to say thanks for sharing and thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Sure.
You're so thoughtful, you're so thoughtful. You're so thoughtful, you're so. You're so. You like it too.